up, you guys? This is Steffi, aka In My Humble Opinion, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are continuing with our last season of The Crown journey. We are going to be watching season 6, episode 6. The episode is entitled Ruritania. So let's get right into it. Just want to give you guys a fair warning. If you hear a whirring in the background, that's the air conditioning. I had to turn it on because it's very hot in this room.
And so, Coronation Day is upon us for the first time since 1953.
A coronation? Okay, well, this is clearly a dream.
The former Queen is...
Or a nightmare.
It's out with Queen Elizabeth and in with King Tony.
In with King Tony, Tony Blair.
The King leaves the Abbey.
I'm just like so amused with in their last season, The Crown is playing with these like alternate realities. I still stand by, like, even though I haven't seen the earlier seasons in a while, I just don't remember them ever doing stuff like that. Oh, the corgis!
And with Mr. Blair scoring higher than me in every survey one can find, perhaps now is the time to find out what seems to have gone wrong and how I could do better.
Why do they like him more than me?
Asked if the royal family were out of touch with ordinary people, 69% said yes.
Don't you guys feel like low-key we get an episode like this every single season? Where the royal family is met with this harsh reality that the people of the UK may not be the biggest fans of them.
Only Winston at his height had this kind of support.
Have you learned nothing in the time you've been on the throne?
Oh my gosh, not her mother like dragging her.
Well, I think this one might be different.
Elizabeth felt a tremor when Tony Blair arrived.
Take today's engagement at the Women's Institute. Composing the speech yourself, with, if I may say, evident enthusiasm.
Of course.
I like her assistant trying to kind of motivate and boost her up.
Can you imagine a city run and populated entirely by the WI? Everything would run on time, and we would take all the men's jobs.
Her speech is a hit. Wow.
NATO's credibility is at stake. To which he said,
NATO's credibility is already a busted flush.
so you're allowed to do the accent.
I do it better.
And people do like the American accent.
You will find in Britain a friend and an ally. Fashion with you the design of a future built on peace and prosperity for all.
He's a very impassioned orator, Tony Blair.
A resounding success for the Prime Minister in America.
Elizabeth's like, but my speech at the Women's Institute!
The Prime Minister pulled it off.
So it seems. This is an extraordinary political feat.
I like how Elizabeth is like low-key resenting him for doing his job really well. Like, I mean, obviously it's not the fact that he's doing his job really well, but it's just the fact that, like, because he's doing his job so well, he just seems to be so beloved by everyone. Meanwhile, the royal family, yet again, because we get an episode like this every season, people are not the biggest fans of them.
You are, at this moment, by some margin, the most celebrated leader on the world stage, with remarkable instincts. And so, in the light of that,
I need your help.
it's no secret that the Crown has not had the best time of it in recent years. Often our values and those of the country have not been perfectly aligned.
Elizabeth was like, well, if you can't beat them, join them.
What would you do to turn things round for us, if you were in charge?
If I were king.
Yes.
She's like, don't make me say it!
Who is she asking?
The Prime Minister.
An avowed reformer and modernizer. Her chief advisor. I'm her chief advisor.
Constitutionally, Robert, I think you'll find he is.
Uh-oh, Robert felt a quiver.
It's an anachronistic, unrepresentative feudal system based on 1,000 years of hereditary privilege. You'd be better off trying to modernize Stonehenge.
Let's do the monarchy first, and then we can get round to prehistoric monuments.
Aren't those two things the same?
Ooh. His wife seems fun.
It's all wrong, Tony. Seriously, wrong. Needs changing.
She's like the most vocal wife of a prime minister that we have seen, I think, so far in the show.
Should the monarch be commander-in-chief of the armed forces? Again, they aren't in Sweden, they aren't in the Netherlands. Which brings me to the matter of pomp and splendor. I've been looking at some...
Uh-oh.
I understand that the role dates from the 12th century as a way to claim swans as delicacies for royal banquets. Now that the swan has, one imagines, fallen out of the culinary repertoire, how does one justify the role today?
Points are being made. Points are being made.
Do we really need 10 heralds, including the Rouge Dragon pursuivant and the Maltravers Herald Extraordinary? The gold stick in waiting, the silver stick in waiting, the gentleman usher of the swords.
What are these titles?
A purge of honorifics, a bonfire of sinecures might be a useful concession. And PR victory.
Think about your image, girl. Internally, she's like, no, no.
She must know that they have to change in order to survive.
We always get an episode like this every season. And it's like, that's the nature of the show. That's the nature of the royal family through history. But
What is your precise title?
I am the Queen's herbstrawer.
The Queen's Guide to the Suns.
Yeoman of Glass and China Pantry. It's my job to supervise the glassware and earthenware across all the royal palaces.
I feel like it's hard to dismiss these jobs to maybe like us regular people. We're like, what the hell is this? But then, I don't know, when you put a face to the title, you start to have a little empathy, and then you're like, wow, you actually do serve a function in this grand system.
Her feathers are white as snow and as brief in duration. For she signifieth the passing nature of fair things.
Oh, I can't. I don't like the idea of firing these people who take a lot of pride in what they do.
When they come for an investiture or a state visit, when they brush up against us, they want the magic and the mystery, and the arcane and the eccentric and the symbolic.
They want a show.
The spell that we cast and have cast for centuries is our immutability. Modernity is not always the answer. Sometimes antiquity is too.
Well, I feel like in this episode, I know I've kind of been complaining a little bit that we've seen a similar sentiment in previous seasons, but this episode kind of arrives at a different conclusion. Tradition still matters.
At crucial moments, the palace has failed to read the public mood, and much of the blame rests with me.
Oh no, Robert!
Is there nothing I can do to persuade you to stay?
Sometimes it's helpful to offer a scalp. Everyone benefits. The public gets sent a signal. You get better advice than I could ever possibly give. I get to play more cricket.
Oh, he's sacrificing himself.
I don't know how I'll manage. I shall be utterly lost.
You won't. You're just fine.
Oh, Robert!
The Prime Minister
Yes?
has chosen to address the Women's Institute.
Oh, and then they're not gonna like his speech.
Radical is not a word to be frightened of. It is a word to embrace. Because I fear that if we are not radical, we will not succeed.
The women are turning on him.
Look, the world is changing fast. Oh, okay, right. And change is tough, we know that.
They're like, that's enough. We're done listening to you talk.
The chairwoman of the WI says that she had urged Mr. Blair not to make his speech party political.
Take on the forces that prevent vital change, then
I love that she's like sipping tea.
I think I've come to realize there's no such thing as too royal. If you're doing it, do it properly and unapologetically.
Now she's teaching him some things. Alright, and some post-show thoughts. I still feel like, honestly, every single season of The Crown, you get an episode like this where the royal family is confronted with the harsh reality that the general public of the UK does not like them and they think that they are a stuffy old institution. And then at some point in the episode, there is a character that kind of functions as like a plot device to help them modernize and to help them realize you need to be adaptable, you need to change with the times if you want to still be relevant. You know, it's been a while since I've seen the previous episodes of The Crown that are similar to this, but I guess this episode kind of arrives at a slightly different conclusion, that while the world is changing, tradition still matters. Probably my favorite aspect of this episode was kind of giving a face to the people who have these jobs that work for the royal family, and their job titles like honestly don't really make any sense to us regular folk, and we're like, what does that title even mean? What do they even do? But then actually showing that in the grand scheme of things, their jobs, they do serve a purpose. I forget what some of the job titles were, but like that one person that was in charge of taking stock of all of the glass and they have to make sure that the glass is clean. I was like, wow, that's an actual job. And I feel like that's actually important. To us regular people that own a typical amount of glassware, we don't need that. But for the royal family, maybe they do need people like that. So that was probably like my favorite aspect of this episode, was giving a face to some of those people and seeing how they take pride in their work, and that's an example of tradition still having value, still meaning something. So yeah, I think the conclusion that this episode comes to at the end of the day is a bit of an obvious one. It's like, of course, while progress and changing with the times still matters, tradition still has value. So yeah, I don't really have any other thoughts about this episode because, like I said so many times, I feel like we've gotten the same exact episode just repackaged in different ways. Well, my question for you guys is, I guess I want to know if you have caught on to this pattern too, because there's no way that I am the only person that has caught on to the fact that we have an episode like this almost every single season of The Crown. So let me know, you catch on to this, and were you kind of like, I don't know if I'd use the word like annoy, but more so like, we've been here before. Let me know your thoughts on all of that. Alright, well that's about it for this video. If you liked it, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and please turn on the notification bell down below so you know when a new video from me comes out, and comment down below your thoughts on this episode. Also, I just want to give a special shout out to a podcast that I host. It's called Diva Dailies, a podcast where we deconstruct divas on film, TV, and in music. For this past month of December, we've actually been talking about holiday diva movies. So if you are a fan of movies like A Diva's Christmas Carol, The Holiday, The Best Man Holiday, or Carol, we have episodes ready for you to listen to. So check us out, and I would really appreciate it. All right, well, that's about it. As always, everything I said was just my own personal thoughts and all my humble opinion. No new video tomorrow, but a video the day after, because I am releasing these videos every other day. So yeah, I will see you in the next one. And as always, everything I said was just my own personal thoughts and all in my humble opinion. Bye!